Welcome to Caregivers and Community Connection. Of course, I'm Sharon Kelly, and I'm your host each and every Saturday morning at 11 a.m. and Sunday morning at 8:30 a.m. You all are in for a treat this morning because of the guests that I have in the studio, and it is the one and only Dr. Martina Harris. Good morning, Dr. Harris. You doing okay?
I am, thank you.
It is such amazing to have you here and knowing your new position in the city. I was so happy for you to know that you're the new director of nursing at Chattanooga State. And it's just amazing. And I'm so proud of you. First of all, I want you to tell Chattanooga a little something about your journey, Martina, this morning.
Okay. Let me first say thank you so much, Sharon, for having me on the show. It was such a pleasure to get the voicemail, and I immediately said yes. I look forward to being here, so thank you.
You're welcome.
My history started I am a native of Chattanooga, Tennessee, and I tell everybody I was born and raised here and excited to come back to the community and give back to the community. As a part of my nursing training, I attended Middle Tennessee State University where I received my undergraduate in nursing. Went on to Vanderbilt University where I received a master's in nursing. Wow. And then I thought, you know what? While I'm going, let me keep going. So I decided to go on to Tennessee State University where I received a doctorate of education. And so with all that, throughout the various years, have served as a part of my nurse training. I did labor and delivery. So that is just my recent area, if you say expertise. But after doing about 13 years in higher ed in the nursing program, the opportunity came to go to Chattanooga State, and I talked about it to my family and prayed about it, and I am excited to be at Chattanooga State. I am excited.
I am excited to see you, someone that looked like me, how I started. I always tell people of Julia. Do you remember the program that was on television? You might have been a little girl. She was Julia, and her last name was Baker. And she was a registered nurse, and she was an African-American nurse. And they just celebrated 50 years with her being on television. Okay. And she had a little boy named Corey. And that was the first nurse that I ever saw with that black stripe across her cap that encouraged me. I don't know, what encouraged you to go into nursing?
You know what? I am a first generation college student. And so I actually, when I went to college, I knew I wanted to be a nurse. I had one great aunt in my family who was an LPN. Okay. And so I always said, I wanted to be a nurse. And I had really no idea the differentiate between LPN and RN, but I knew I wanted to wear that white uniform. It was something about that white uniform that said that's what I wanted to do. So going to college, I never changed my desire to be a nurse. And so through all the care plans and late night studies, I knew this is what I wanted to do. So the inspiration actually came from my mother saying, you know what, you can be anything that you want to do. And so she never went to college, and I just said, this is what I want to do. And so she packed me up and took me to Murfreesboro, and I never looked back.
I love that. I mean, I heard you talk about the white uniform. Mm-hmm. I mean, it was just so neat, the cleanliness. I guess when we walked in the room, we looked like angels. So when we had the pearl white gala, I always told everybody to wear pearl white. They hated it. But it brought back memories of what we supposed to be with, holding the candle. Mm-hmm. The candle to show that we supposed to be delivering love. And, Florence Nightingale, the starting up of the nurse facade. It just made me feel like that's what I wanted to do. And I wanted to continue to give love. And it's just something about caregivers. Are we weak or what?
Yeah. And you make a great point, is that when you talk about that white uniform, there are some nursing schools that still require their students to wear all white, because even that when you are in a hospital setting, the nurse if they have that white uniform on, because that is something that to me it defines what a nurse. I mean, it's more to a nurse than a uniform, but it's something about that uniform that you're like, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to do. And so, yes, I love the caring aspect.
I like that. Maybe it's just we knew that that's the person that's supposed to care. I always tell people about Alzheimer's disease and my grandmother having it. And that's the reason why I started a lot of the things that I did. But she was confused with Alzheimer's disease, memory loss, but she recognized that uniform. And when I would come home in the evening, she would do everything for me. She didn't even know my name anymore, but she knew that I was a nurse. It was something about the color of the uniform. So that's one thing that I kind of miss about nursing, and I'm sure you do too as well. But being over at Chat State, being the director of nursing, you know how we didn't care for the director of nursing when we was in school. I mean, we thought she was mean, and I still remember her name from my school.
Okay.
But you probably do from yours as well. But, we didn't think that they wanted us to be nurses. But now we understand that they just wanted us to be the best nurses.
Absolutely.
So how do you feel being the director of nursing?
Some days, Sharon, I go in there and I look around the office and I'm like, wow, this is surreal. But what I try every day when I go in there is that I want the faculty, I want the students to see me as somebody who's approachable. Right. I make every effort to ensure that I am present in the hallways. I walk when I see students changing classes, I'm out there just asking them questions, because for the same thing that you said, we saw that director as somebody who was unapproachable. Right. I saw that director of somebody who was here and the students were here. But at Chattanooga State, we have both a day program and a night program. And I make sure that there are nights that I stay late, because I want those students to know that I am the director and I'm there for them just like I am for the day program. So not being too far removed from the students and the faculty, I find has contributed, and I've only been there 4 months, but it has contributed to my being received at Chattanooga State as somebody who wants them to be successful, both faculty and students.
I remember when you and I first got acquainted, not knowing we were neighbors all our lives, until the other day really, but being the president of the Black Nurses Association, that's when you and I got acquainted and became friends.
Yes.
And that's been over 20-something years ago. You always stood out front as a leader. I remember that, and someone that was very approachable, even to us, even though we had our stripe. We still respected you as the leader of our organization. We did things in the community because we believed in giving back. And some of the things that I learned along the way is the reason why I am how I am today, is from being a part of such a nice organization that was about giving. So, what are some criteria to help young people to decide to go into nursing?
Okay. A big thing, Sharon, I think, is that what you and I are doing is that we need to show other young people or even older adults who decide that they want to have a career in nursing that it is obtainable. If you did it, I did it, anybody can do it.
That's right.
And I tell people all the time is that, yes, it was hard. Yes, it was difficult, but it was worth it, every minute of it. And so you too can do it. So I try to always, every time I'm at church, I'm at the football games, basketball games, baby, what you want to do when you get big? What do you want to do? I have people all the time saying, you know what? I had thought about nursing, but I'm just not sure. You can have a job in nursing in anywhere. You can travel. You can work at the insurance company. You can work at Rosa Sharon. There are so many things that you can do. So I think that that's something that you and I and other nurses in the community is that we need to continue to talk about the rewarding things that nursing has done for us, so that we can share our love for it, but also give people some steps. Because one thing I said I wanted to do a lecture on is taking the mystery out of getting into nursing school. Because sometimes,
I like that.
Sometimes you look at these little things and you're like, am I supposed to take this, and this? But there needs to be some type of session that we say, you know what, this is how you do it. And it starts before you get into 12th grade.
Definitely. They always say that 9th grade is it. That's when you need to sit down with your guidance counselor and talk about what you want to do. I remember they got me in line with the maths and the sciences. And I was like, why I gotta take these hard classes? Everybody else making a star roll but me.
Right.
But it was because I knew that that's what I wanted to be. In high school, I knew in the 9th grade, I knew in the 1st grade, I wanted to be a nurse, because that's when Julia hit the air.
Okay.
And I saw that, and it was a passion that she had for caring for others. that I had. Didn't even know it, but I knew I cared. And I'm sure you're just the same way. And I heard you say something about your mom. Your mom said, you can be whatever you want to be. And that's what we got to tell our young people. We got to strive for them to do the best, you know.
And you know that saying, that cliche, it takes a village? It does, you know. And I try to tell people is that I probably can't hold your child's hand, but I will be there every step of the way to ensure that they are getting advised. So if you know that they may even want to go away to a 4-year university, but as somebody who has been in the role of a nursing student, a faculty, and now a director, I can kind of give them some pointers. And so that's why I say is that I want to, and it may not be this year, it'll be next year, but something to take the mystery out of becoming a registered nurse, because it is so important that we start early.
I like that. You know what? Already half our show is over. We're going to take a small break, and then we're going to come back and tell them a little bit more about nursing. So don't you all go nowhere.
Now you know.
Welcome back to Caregivers and Community Connection. I know all the up and coming nurses are truly enjoying this show this morning with Dr. Martina Harris, the new Director of Nursing at Chattanooga State Community College. Now, we were just talking just a few minutes ago about things to encourage our young people to start early and getting ready to be prepared to be a nurse. Now, I want you to tell them the credentials of the things that they must do to prepare themselves so that they could possibly get in the nursing program. Because everybody say, you can't get in that program. So tell them how. I know.
It is strongly encouraged that our students, when they come to Chattanooga State, that they have done well in their high school chemistry. Okay, as a part of some of the criteria for Chattanooga State is that we look at your sciences, we look at all of your anatomy, physiology, microbiology. But what I tell students is that trying to come in and take all these core courses all at one time because you want to get to it, go slow.
Yes.
Because you want to be successful. I strongly encourage all people who are interested in attending Chattanooga State's nursing program to look on our website to gather the information. But also we have information sessions once every month, and they are also listed on our websites. So you can go to chattanoogastate.edu and look in the nursing academics, and it would give you all of that. But you, as a part of our admission criteria, we do require a admissions test, but it's just a basic standardized test to ensure that students are able to read and comprehend.
Wow.
So it's
I like
doable.
that.
It's doable.
I like that. Now, we were talking about the males.
Oh, yes.
And the shortage and the needs of male nurses. Tell the men, encourage them today about possibly becoming a nurse.
If you are a male and you are interested in nursing, we need male nurses.
Well, you can't say it any better than that. Right.
But statistically, in the state of Tennessee, females obviously outnumber the number of males, but we are seeing an increase. We have a current class, a first-year class of 115 students, and 5 of those were male students. Years ago, it used to be that nursing was a woman profession,
right?
But now we see the shift is changing, but there are still great opportunities for male nurses to enter into our profession as being registered nurses.
I like that. I remember when I graduated some years ago, we had a few males in our class, and we used to get a little angry with them because they didn't want to bathe people, turn people. I'm like, I'm a nurse. You're a nurse. We should do the same. How are you all working with that in the school system now on getting the males prepared for being able to deal with the opposite sex.
And we treat them just as all the other female students, is that they have to do bed baths. Now, in our simulation, our skills lab, we have the mannequins. And so with the mannequins, they have the various body parts. We can interchange them. You may go in and do a bed bath today on a female, but you would still, that would be your assignment. One of the areas that male students have typically shied away from is the labor and delivery area. But as you know, we prepare students to be generalists. Right. So they all go through the OB, the PEDS, the psych, the med surge. And so when the male students, when it's their turn to come up to go to labor and delivery, obviously we give the patients an opportunity. We tell the patients, there's a male student, would you? And oftentimes our labor and delivery patients are very receptive to having male students. But again, we prepare them to be generalists. So we expect them to bathe and do all the other things that are female students. But if the patient declines, then obviously we respect the patient's wishes.
Yeah, that's good. Mm-hmm. When you're in labor, you don't care. Okay. Just get this thing, right? But anyway, do we still use the orange?
Yes.
Really?
Orange. Any nurses
that
have gone
every nurse knows.
Yes. The orange, for those who are not nurses, this is the way we train students on how to do their injections.
Right.
And so it is the safest way. We also now have upgraded just a little bit. We use what we call a task trainer, which is a model, whether it be an arm or gluteus or various parts of the bodies that students could practice on giving IM injections as well as sub-Q. But I don't think anybody's going away from the orange, because students can go to the fruit stand and purchase oranges. But yes, we still use the orange. And what we tell students is that once you have mastered and we feel comfortable that you have safely done the rites, the 5 rites, and located your landmarks, then we feel safe to take you to the hospital. Yes.
I like that. I remember my first patient that I gave an injection to. Man, he even went down to the little gift shop, and I still got it today. And he bought me a little egg, and it had a little bottom sticking out, and it had on a nurse's cap. And he said, "Thanks for giving me the best shot I ever had." So if you're a good student, you might get one of those little eggs too. But I am excited about you being in the position that you are in, because you have came through all the stations of being a nurse all the way up to your doctorate degree. So that means that it is obtainable for anybody to do if they want to. But you gotta put it first during the time that you're in nursing school. Now tell them a little something about that, because you talked about that. Most people want to still go out and party. They still want to do all these things, and then when they fail, then they're looking sad and they lost their parents' money. Or if you're older, you ain't playing around with it too much. You're real.
There is a local radio personnel here in Chattanooga, Eric Foster, and so he has a joke that we went to undergraduate together, and he would always say, "Martina was never any of the parties," and he said, "Now I see why." You have to decide on where you're going to put your energy.
Right.
Now, am I saying you need to go to college and not have fun? No, absolutely. You need to have a good balance. And so what I see now is that our students don't know how to have that good balance. We find students who are not doing, who are doing poorly in class, that when we counsel them, they're working 40 hours a week, or they are needing to do other things. And so what we strongly encourage students is to figure out what that balance is for you. And if it means that you have to tell your employer that you can only work 2 days a week, you only need to work 2 days a week, because what you're doing is sacrificing your future for now. And so I knew back then at Middle Tennessee State University that I could not be at every party that was at the Elk. Did I want to be? Yes. But I couldn't be. And so now looking back, it's like, you know what? It was all worth it.
Yes.
It was all worth it in the end.
And you wonder sometimes, how did I get through it? I know it had to be Jesus.
Yes.
That's all that could have got us through that. We had to get some slap on that one. But, I'm glad you said that. I remember just talking to people, talking to whoever your employer is about what you're trying to do. I remember I worked at Park Ridge back then, and I began to only work 2 days on the weekend, and I was off 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, because they understood I was a single parent and I wanted to make it. So it's all about the sacrifice that you have to do in order to fulfill your dreams. Because that's all it was. There was a dream. But when it becomes reality, wow.
Yes.
And just look where it can take you. And look what you can do with nursing. So, one of the things that we do at our facilities, we have nursing students from Cleveland State. I would love to have some from Chat State to come over. And I've had a contract with them since I was at Park Ridge. When I came out, started my business, because I always took up time for students because I know how difficult it is. And not having someone to take the time and show you how to do it. And then you know what? You'll become one of the most respected nursing because you tried it. You put your hand on it. I remember the first time I went in the ICU, I almost passed out over the bed with the person. So, it's just the little things that you remember about nursing, and I want to encourage people to please follow your dream. A lot of us haven't done anything, haven't gone to school in our families. We're thinking just like maybe you did. I heard you say you was one of the first generations to go to college in your family. And somebody got to step out there on faith
and try it.
And start making it happen. And then we talked about the baby boomers not being able to pick what kind of nursing until you really get out. You don't know what you want to do. You just know you want to be a nurse.
That's right.
So time you get in the OBGYN, like you said, most males, they don't want to do OBGYN.
No. But I think that what we need to realize in our community is that we, in the nation, have a aging population. And so if you come into nursing school thinking you only want to do this type of nursing, you may get into nursing school and figure out that is not what you want to do because the opportunities are endless. So don't come in nursing school with I only want to do labor and delivery, because you may come in and miss out on your blessing of working in an adult daycare center or working in a pediatric ICU or
owning one.
Or owning one. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Become a business person and a nurse.
Yes.
It's all kind of opportunities out there for us now. And, and just thinking about what happened 50 years ago with John F. Kennedy losing his life, and then look where we are today. And I'm sure you're probably the first African-American director of nursing at Chattanooga State. I know, because I was there. And we never saw us. We never saw us on the floor. So I just know that it's got to be a God because of what's happening in our city, in our community, and with you. So when I look at you, you just make me proud. And I want to thank you for coming out this morning, spending time with us. Can you tell us anything you want to say in closing?
Well, again, I want to thank you, Sharon, for this opportunity. And you talked about when we first met, but I looked at you and I really, really appreciate what you do for our community, Sharon. It's the adult daycare centers and just your willingness to give back. But thank you, because I know you're right, is that God put us together for a reason, and we're going to stick together, and we're going to get anybody that want to be nurses and keep up our wonderful profession, bring them on.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming out.
Yes.